zoomed. We are now unmuted and have video. All right, so got everything up and running. And is it 7:30?
Yep.
I have 7:31, so we will call this meeting, council meeting of October 25th, 2021 to order. Start tonight with prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call.
Ray.
Present.
Foreman. Present. Hamilton.
Present.
Atkinson.
Present.
Fowler.
Present.
And McCreary is absent.
Query is absent. All right. 5 members though, so we can have a meeting. First agenda item is the approval of the minutes from October 11.
Foreman moves we approve them as written.
All right.
Second, Hankerson.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Cosgrave.
Abstain.
Foreman.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Atkinson.
Yes.
And Cowell.
Yes.
No, like still gives us enough to approve the minutes as written. All right. Next is the agenda. There is, I guess it's technically 2 amendments, but they are both related. Has to do with ordinance 2021-31 and 2021-32. Jeff, after doing them, took a look at them and combined them into 2021-31. So we can remove, because there is no ordinance 2021-32 from the agenda. And the title for ordinance 2021-31 should now reads as an ordinance to adopt the village's 2021-2022 pay plan to reflect amendments to pay ranges and other matters.
Okay, and also 2021-29 is Wade sponsor and foreman going to 3. So I make a motion, we approve the agenda as amended by taking out 2021-32 and add them to sponsor to 29 and 30. And make it.
And updating the title to
and updating
2031 is read.
31 updating that.
Good enough for me. Is there a second?
Second.
Foreman seconds.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Cosgrave.
Yes.
Foreman.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes.
Atkinson.
Yes.
Cowell.
Yes.
All right. Amended agenda is approved. Sorry there, guys. I was making sure I turned on our microphone so Terry could hear us.
I hear you.
All right, next is visitors. There's no one online yet, so we will move on to reports. Just a couple things from me. Trick or treat is this Thursday from 6 to 7:30. I'm always shocked that I have to say this, but I will. For anybody that watches the video afterwards, you are the parent. If you do not feel that the weather is appropriate for your child to be out trick-or-treating, that is your parental choice. Absent some natural disaster or large-scale industrial fire or police situation that would put everybody in the village in jeopardy, trick-or-treat is not going to be canceled due to the logistics of doing so, even if it's raining and cold. That is your choice. So trick or treat 6 p.m. this Thursday. Something, I guess I could have brought this up. I haven't talked to Terry about it since last week, but during our planning and zoning meeting, it was brought up to us that we recently had that ordinance about not putting leaves and grass and debris in the road, including our leaves that we do for pickup. And then someone said, but the storm drain for your guys' stormwater is in my front yard. So if I don't put them in the road, I block your drain by putting them in my yard. And then we started thinking that there's a couple of them around there. So I don't know if that's something that we just need to pay attention to, or just let those people know, do whatever. But it was something that when they said it, I was like, oh yeah, there are some in the yard. So, like I said, I haven't really talked to Terry about it to see if it's anything we need to do, but if you guys think of anything that we might want to do to fix that.
For the ones that's got them in the front yard, I hope they got common sense to keep them away from the drain.
Well, there's that, but the argument is when they go to put the leaves out there for pickup, if they don't push them into the road a little bit, when the pickup comes through, it pushes them into the storm. So,
as far as getting on somebody for leaving leaves in the street, it's just common sense of whoever in a village to tell the people.
Yeah.
It's like,
So like I said, I don't know that it's anything we need to do, but it was one of those things that when it was brought up, it was like, oh yeah, there are a couple of those. So, and then last thing before I'll give it over to Terry, is election day is November 2nd. We know after election day, there will be 2 open seats that'll be eligible for council to make appointments to. I was, and I'm planning on making the announcement that we'll accept the letters of interest after the election day, because that's when we know officially, even though we know now the seats will be open, but it's at least after the election day, and that still gives us a solid 2 months to collect letters of interest. That said, we've already received 2. So, so we'll do that.
So my question is, when do we do it?
Jeff and I kind of talked about that, and it's the next council, correct?
Yeah, because there's no vacancy technically until the.
So
first
we
of
do
the
it
year,
in January.
We'll do it in January.
So the 4 of them will make the decision then.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
So can't do it in advance.
okay. I just,
So, and like I said, and that gives us, a solid 2 months, then we'll do an announcement again right after election, and then we can take those letters up through December 31st. Because we usually meet pretty early on in January, but
yeah, depending when your organization meets.
yep.
But we wouldn't really have to do, well, it'd be nice to have 6 people on board when you have your organization meeting.
And I think what we did the last time we had appointments was we did the appointments at the organizational meeting. And then that way they were part of the organizational meeting. And so it's if the 4 of you that will be on next year want to stop collecting the letters, a week or 2 early so that you have time to review them. Can the 4 of them meet to discuss? We could have a meeting because it's a special meeting. It's an executive session meeting because it's confidential employment matter, to meet beforehand. Obviously you can't vote in executive session, but we could discuss and review them. And then you guys can make the decision really early into January. So we'll figure out the logistics here. We got 9 weeks. But yeah, so yeah.
I'm trying to figure out when you are, because I'm going to go to Florida, but I am planning on coming back a couple of weeks in January.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering what kind of weeks.
Okay. We'll keep, yeah. Because if we have
a meeting.
if we have 4 and you're not around, we only have 3, which
Yeah.
means we don't have a meeting until we get the others, at least one of the others on. So let's at some point in the next week or 2 talk about when you'll be back. So that we can make sure we have a meeting. All right. And that's all I had, unless anybody had anything, questions for me this time. If not, we'll turn it over to Terry.
Thanks, Mayor. Most of what I had to say, I said it's service and safety, but one important thing is tomorrow night, I will be attending a Fairfield County grant writing seminar. The Fairfield County Commissioners have selected a firm called Hicks Partners to provide grant writing services for townships and villages located in Fairfield County. This will help them decide how to distribute or where to distribute the American Rescue Plan Act money that the county gets. It'll be interesting to see the format, to see what they're looking for, and to see what we can apply for, since I thought that the American Rescue Plan Act was pretty specific in what the money could be used for. So it should be an interesting session. Looking forward to it, and that's tomorrow night. And that's really all I have, unless somebody has something for me.
I got one thing. I know it's a month away almost, but Christmas decoration, did we didn't get any new one this year, did we? And are we going to put up the same one for next year? That'd be just something to look at. You can come back with it.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, we have been talking with Mr. Mauger, and he has some ideas for some new decorations he was ordering. So we'll be putting up the ones, of course, that we did last year, the other new ones. And if the new ones come in and we get the approval from AEP, we'll be putting up the new ones too. So it just depends on when he ordered them and the delivery date.
BDRC has been good the past couple of
Yes.
years. They've had some extra funds that they've helped to.
Yeah, I know
Like
they
this-
bought some.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about it this year. So.
Yeah. I wasn't aware until Terry just said it that they'd ordered them this year, because I didn't know if they had it, but
They did a fundraising for some Christmas decorations.
Oh.
And I think that's where Ken got his money. And he reached out to me about, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And the two Tims and him have been working together on what we can hang where. So more to come.
cool. Good question. Anybody got anything else for Terry? All right. Brian, welcome back.
Yeah, I've been very busy the last 2 weeks catching up on not only September, closing out September, but catching up on all the work that I missed. And I'm almost there, about 99.5% there. But other than that, I really don't have anything. I'm very busy.
But we should be on task to do everything in November for September and October.
Yes,
Shouldn't have a
I've
problem.
got September closed. I was very surprised when I hit that reconciliation, for the transaction, I got that green check mark. I was like, oh. I was shocked. I was like, that's good. So.
All right, cool. All right, Jeff.
3 new pieces of legislation, self-explanatory. They've already been discussed. First 2 do carry emergency language because of deadlines and the need for the village to move forward in a prompt fashion with respect to those. The third one, which is the adoption of a new pay plan, does not have emergency language. So, and that's all I have.
All right. Moving on to committees, finance.
Okay, Mayor, of course, we haven't met for a couple of weeks, and our next meeting is, I just had it here, is November the 8th at 6 o'clock.
All right. And service.
Service met this evening at 6 o'clock. We have 2 pieces of legislation coming out of service, 2021-29, 2021-30. Both have emergency language, as the solicitor mentioned. And we'll be passing those this evening.
All right. Safety.
Okay, we have our meeting this evening. Everybody was present. Our next meeting is 22nd. After service.
All right. And rules.
We've had a meeting since the last one there. And the next one will be on. Third.
No,
The
the eighth.
The
The eighth.
November the eighth.
All right.
All right. Moving on, police department.
Thanks, Mayor. We're working on some things out at the police department. We had, Terry was kind enough to have service come over. As you know, we placed a new security window in the front. And Mr. Foreman worked hard to get us a door. I understand they were pretty hard to come by. But it looks 1,000 times better down there. We just today ordered an exterior wall sign that has our shoulder patch on it and has all the information for somebody that may be coming through town, how to get in touch with us or whatever. We've had to put some money into a couple of the cars just because it cycles through that way. There's nothing else you can do about it. Training is all done. All firearms training is done. And we were a little concerned because it takes quite a bit of ammunition to do that. And we have not got our ammunition order from March or May, I guess. So I just started to talk about that today when the phone rang and they said your ammunition's coming in. So hallelujah. We had one resignation today. Devin Holm, who's been working a lot of evenings and nights for us, has been offered a full-time position with a police department sheriff's office on the east side of Ohio, making ridiculous money. So I understand why he can't turn that down. Plus he has family over there. So we are currently looking at evaluating all the equipment that we have, trying to come up with dates, times, and come up with some sort of retention schedule, which is something we've never had in the past, to make sure that we're staying on track with that. We've seen really good compliance from people in regards to traffic. The number of people we're seeing violating speed and violating four-way stops or stop signs has really, really decreased. And that's at a time when the number of people that are out moving about has really increased. So that's good. And I think that's all I have.
I've got two questions.
Okay.
One, did anybody go to that bailiff court officer training?
Yes.
What did they think of it? Because Freddie keeps asking me, and he's the president of that association.
Dave Wolf went.
Makes sense.
And
Mayor's court officer.
Yeah. And he actually really enjoyed, well, and it was really kind of neat because you could either go or Zoom. So he Zoomed it from the office. And it was for training, it was really inexpensive.
Mhm.
Training, the presenter was really good. And so he's going to get on, or probably by now has got on a list where in future training, he'll get a notice on it to stay up to speed.
Good deal. And number two, any leads on our serial graffiti artist?
Dylan Clark is working on that. He's got a few people that he is, what do they say on TV? They're people of interest that he's looking at. So we're going to try to see if maybe we can put something together with that. The one person that he's leaning towards is a non-resident of Baltimore, but has friends and family in Baltimore. And we're looking at the times that we know they're there visiting in relation to the times that we're seeing this graffiti and things along that line.
For you guys, if you hadn't heard, especially at Basel Park, there was some rather interestingly crude and graphic drawings on the slide, one of the slides in particular, but some of the plastic playground equipment. So, and then as soon as Tim got rid of one area, it popped up in another. So, all right. Anybody got any questions for Chief? All right. Fire board.
Okay, we had a meeting last Thursday. Engine for 611. the box is done for it. They might have it by the end of the year if they can get a chassis.
So they're waiting on
It's been kind of.
they're waiting on a
hold
chip
a
for
while.
it.
Yes. And they had their biannual audit and had 0 violations.
Good for them.
And they're looking at a new medic and they'll be getting the funds from the American Rescue Fund. So that'd be a big help for them.
Cool.
And they are going to come up with a committee for levy that they're thinking about putting on. They went through the auditors down there and they, one mill could bring up to $250,000.
New levy or
Be a new levy.
new levy?
Most of that stemmed from the guys, they need a few more guys because just too much overtime, guys expecting days off, do stuff with their family and now they're turning around, they have to come in and work because somebody's off, so.
All right.
it's-
What was that new medic going about? 610 or
The
6?
new medic, let's see. They're probably 610.
Yeah. Any questions for
That's it.
Fire Board? All right, we'll move on. Planning and Zoning Commission. We met last week. It was an interesting meeting because for the past 6 years I've been here, we haven't had any lot splits, and then we had 2 come in at the same time. So they were the first 2 lot splits that Terry, our zoning administrator, had to do. Interestingly enough, our code allows for Terry to, if they're minor lot splits, if they're very small, approve them. If we don't think there'll be any issue with them. That said, having not done any lot splits, it also allows us to send it to the Planning Commission. So we sent it to the Planning Commission. They did end up, both of the splits were out on the east side of town. They did make a recommendation on one that after the split is done, the 2 property owners then combine certain lots back together to make the parcels a little cleaner. That was a recommendation from the engineering company. And so since they made that recommendation, we know we'll be seeing a lot combination come in, but the committee also passed, and when that comes in, it'll come to council because the committee does not want them to have to pay that fee since it's part of the requirements for doing the split. But like I said, that said, both lot splits were then granted. We moved on to discuss pools and requirements, locations and fencing around them, et cetera. The committee has some changes to our zoning code with regards to pools, but we didn't vote to bring them to council yet because of course we have to have a public meeting on them in planning and zoning. And at the next meeting, we're going to be discussing ponds. We've learned a lot about ponds and what needs done. And there are certain times the EPA has to be involved in different things. So we need to update those. And so we're going to do those ponds and pools at the same time since we're dealing with water on properties in the village. So after the next planning and zoning meeting, I'd expect them to schedule a public hearing on those 2 issues. And then sometime next year, council will get, I imagine council will get recommendations to change the zoning code with regards to pools and ponds, with the goal of trying to get those in place before spring and summer when people put in pools and ponds. That said, our next meeting was set for November 11th, which is Veterans Day. We were not going to meet on that day. And so we moved the meeting up to November 4th. Yeah, so we got a number of things on the agenda to discuss, but I think ponds will probably be most of the discussion at the November 4th meeting. So
Correct. If I could add on to that, Mayor, also at the next Finance Committee, I will be bringing the zoning fees to finance. We need to do a little bit of an adjustment. I believe it's been since, on lot splits especially, it's been since 2008. And it's still $200, but the engineer review was $250. So we need to do some adjustment to our fee schedule, and I'll get that around in time for finance. Would that go through finance? Or rules?
Finance or rules? I mean, it could, because it's money, it could go through finance.
Okay,
Yeah,
I would like to do it sooner than later, so I'll have it ready for the finance committee.
cool. Any questions for planning commission? All right, tree commission.
Mainly tonight there's legislation for the urban forestry grant that we would like to pursue. Again, we'd be using the funds that we set aside each year for Tree City USA. That's all I really have for that.
All right. And records commission, we don't have anything yet, so we will keep moving on. Anybody have any motions at this time? Not, we'll move on to ordinance and resolutions. First reading, resolution 2129, a resolution for OPWC Round 36 application submission for North Granville and East Water Street Improvement Project, sponsor Cosgray.
All right, authorizing the village administrator to participate and submit application to OPWC. So this has emergency language, and I would like to make a motion to suspend a 3 reading rule.
All right. Roll call?
Cosgray.
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
All right, 3 readings suspended.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt resolution 2021-29.
I might second that motion.
All right, discussion on the motion to adopt. Hearing none, roll call.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Atkinson.
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
All right, 5-0. 2021-29 will be adopted.
Thank you.
Moving on to resolution 2021-30, a resolution for Tree Commission to apply for an ODNR Division of Forestry grant for urban canopy restoration. Sponsor is Foreman.
Yeah, this resolution authorizes the village administrator to apply for a grant. And due to time for trees, due to time constraints, it contains emergency language. So I move that we suspend the 3 reading rule.
Cosgray second.
Roll call.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Atkinson,
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
3 readings suspended.
And Foreman motions to adopt.
Cosgray second.
Discussion on motion to adopt 2021-30. Hearing none, roll call.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Atkinson.
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
All right, 2021-30 will be adopted.
Thank you.
Moving on, ordinance 2021-31, which is an ordinance to adopt the village's 2021-2022 pay plan to reflect amendments to pay ranges and other matters. Sponsor is Foreman.
Yeah, this is a resolution to update our pay limits, the maximums, and also implement pay raises, as well as some other licensing pay increases. There's no need to pass this by emergency or by, so it'd just be it for the first reading.
Anybody have any questions on this? If not, it'll stay on for a second reading for November 8th. All right.
Before you move on,
Yes.
the last 2 ordinances that were passed, they're resolutions, not ordinances. Does that matter?
Just to keep it clean, thanks for catching that. But wait a minute,
20.
No,
It's 20,
it's on the agenda, it's not a resolution.
Oh, we were saying ordinances.
Oh,
Oh, okay, no, well.
did I,
it's
Was it
still
on as an
resolution,
ordinance?
so-
Because I take,
It was on
I
as
was
an
taking
ordinance.
notes.
it's on as a resolution.
Yeah, the
Did I
first
say-
2 are on the agenda as resolution.
Okay,
Okay, well,
So we're okay.
okay, I was just questioning because I wrote ordinances down on in my.
So it might have
Are
been
you sure you're
you.
99%?
You just lost 5%.
Ah.
Okay.
The agenda has 2021-32, but that was amended off because it was added into the one that was just came on for a first reading. So we'll move on to second readings. There are none. So we will move on to third readings, which is ordinance 2021-27, which is an ordinance rescinding ordinance 2014-32, which was an ordinance amending the traffic control map to convert Canal Street to a one-way street running east from High Street to Basel Street. Sponsor is Hankinson.
Okay, we've discussed this quite a few times in safety and I just I like to adopt this ordinance.
It sounds like a motion to adopt.
Yeah.
Is there a second discussion on adoption of 2021-27? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Hankinson,
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
All right, 5-0. 2021-27 will be adopted. And apparently the wind is blowing in both directions. All right, there are two tabled ordinances, ordinance 2021-24 and 21-25. Sponsor on both of those is McCreary, who is absent tonight. Those are both tabled for a public hearing, which is set in November. However, does anybody want to do anything with those tonight? All right. Then we will move on to old business. Does anybody have any old business? Does anybody have any new business?
One needs signed both front and back.
Any visitors? Any last call? I will say that it was great weather for the fair.
Oh, yeah.
It was great weather for the fair, and there were a lot of local kids out there showing a lot. So, and I saw a lot of people out there. So nobody has anything else. Our next council meeting is November 8th at 7:30. Is there a motion to adjourn? And if you do it quickly, you'll beat even my most recent record.
So moved. Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, we will adjourn at 8:03.
Excellent. So I have a couple of
I know,
Wow.
about that. So isn't that
about,
great? Especially after a long.
I have a couple of inquiries.
See you, Terry.
As a private citizen.
Yeah.